Hey guys, my name is Bando. This is Brooks of Bando. We're doing a hobby feedback video today, and first up we have a wonderful mini by Judas Varnus over in the Discord. Judas has been working on this phenomenal Black Dragon Space Marine, and it really has. He's been going back and forth, and he's been taking loads of feedback from people, and he keeps changing the model and reworking it. And you know what? I think every iteration he has done so far has been absolutely phenomenal. I think an entire army of this model would look brilliant. So let's put our scrutiny hat on and be really mean and really go through it. And I'm gonna be really picky with this one because it is such a great model. Because I feel like, if you drop a really good model, you deserve to be really badly criticised. So let's start. We'll start at the top and work our way down. Some of the highlights around things are a little bit sloppy. I get that that's the stylistic choice, but they could be slightly tightened up. This one triggers the Tism, activates my almonds, etc. But the spike on his forehead is not straight. I really like the vents. I think the vents look fantastic. I love that really bright white and then dark. I love the contrast it brings. The freehand looks really good from what I can see. The actual the actual kind of customization, the conversion of the model with the spikes and the knee wings are great. The sculpted hand. I like that the claws are not too big. The artwork that this is based on, the claws are out to like here. They're really long, and I think this is a really good balance where you've made it stand out as what it's supposed to represent without being unwieldy, without being awkward. Biggest complaint is the chest wings. I get what you're going for. They just look kind of weird the way that they curl in. I would have just done them flush against the chest. That way, the shoulder pad, you can see the shoulder pad here is going to catch on it. That's just how I would have done it. Possibly even just painting the wings on rather than having them being a 3D embossment. Love the little knee wings. I think the knee wings are really fantastic. The decal works really good as well. I like that you've gone for this nice sort of dark blue as your mid-tone. And I think the base, I know the base has been something that has been brought up a couple of times during feedback. I think this base is fantastic. It's nice and subdued. It ties everything into the theme, with the red and the black or the dark grey. But it is nice and subtle. It doesn't draw the eye away. It just enhances everything. I like the scratchy nature of the highlights because it's adding sort of depth. It's adding character. And all in all, this model is one of my favourites that I've seen posted in the Discord. We do have some shots from different angles. I love it. I really do. I think this is absolutely fantastic. This is what the hobby is all about. And I beg you, please do the whole squad. Like, give me 5 guys like this, because this level of quality, if everyone in the hobby really pushed themselves, if Games Workshop themselves pushed themselves to this quality, they would be worthy of that title of the best miniature company in the world, because this, in my opinion, is a perfect Space Marine. So keep it up. You say you're bad at taking photos. I completely disagree. I think this photo is absolutely fantastic and captures exactly what this model is supposed to be. So absolutely spot on. Really fantastic. Maybe take the jets up here a little bit hotter, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white, just to get that real blazing hot jet look. But maybe that's not what you want, because this guy's clearly standing, he's landed. But I love it. I love that a lot of the details are more subtle, more subdued. This is fantastic, not to glaze too much. So please, I beg you, please do some more of these. Let's have a look at what we got next. So next up, just the one image. This is the shinychespian or thespian, who has given us a Warhounds Praetor work in progress. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the Warhounds colour scheme. I know that's a bit weird. I like blue and white, and I just think it's because the Warhounds are the go-to for everyone who wants to do an alternate World Eaters scheme, and I just kind of find it a bit uninspiring nowadays. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about this. So the pose I like. I like that this is very much an officer. He's taking a moment in the battle to receive some information. You know, he's taking a moment to assess the situation, get an update, maybe order an auto bombardment, something like that. I like this head. I like the you know, the horsehair crest on everything. The way the hammer is, you know, resting on the ground is all good, and it's a wonderful use of is it the Master of Signal? No, it's the Siege Breaker or something. I always think he's the Mark 6 Tech Marine. That's kind of what he feels like to me. I really like that. You know, the pose and the balance of the model is really, really good. I possibly would have maybe upped the base a little bit, maybe just get the rocks a little bit higher to get him out of the mud, just to elevate him a little bit. But let's talk about the painting, and it's a bit hard to see everything, and this is a work in progress, so I can't be too harsh, but I'm going to start with some suggestions. And the first one is contrast. You need to get a dark line separating each of these plates and a light line separating them on the highest point. Same with around here, you need to define where the edge of the metallics is, you know, and tidy up where this overspill is, which is fine because you are in what appears to be an earlier stage of the painting, so it shouldn't be too difficult. I actually quite like this baby blue. I actually used to have my old bedroom at my parents' house was painted in this colour. I would add some chipping, use some dark brown like Rhinox hide to chip the white. I find Rhinox hide is one of the best chipping colours to use for lighter things because it's a nice sort of, it's a nice warm brown, but it's dark, it's not quite black. It just adds a really good bit of contrast. Shade into this horsehair crest and then get it nice and bright along the top. All in all, a bit of a shade pass on this would work really, really well. Make sure you get some tufts onto the base. You really want to break this up. I don't know if you're going to paint the base. If you are, that's fine. Get some dry brush, get some shade in there. But yeah, you need to get a bit of contrast on this model. It's fine. You know, you've obviously got the paint where you want the paint to go, and it all doesn't look too thick, which is fine. But some nice. You don't have to edge highlight literally everything. Just like, you know, here and here, and then around the edge like of the collar, picking out the fingers, and then this loincloth. These sorts of areas where the eyes are naturally going to go are the ones you really want to get them popping on. But some contrast, some darkness. I don't just mean contrast paint, I mean the difference between the light and the dark. You can see it here with the shading between the light and the dark where the light is falling. You need that darkness to be more pronounced because you have to trick the eye. The model is too small for natural light to do what it would do in real life. You know, you are looking at it from hundreds of meters away when it's on the table in front of you, in theory. The light would act differently. So get that contrast in there, and I think that would be a real great starting point for this model. So keep it up. Next up is Pasta Juice, my absolute favourite person on the planet. Hi Pasta. So Pasta is doing this, what appears to be a Black Templar. I quite like the pose. It's a good balanced pose. It's obviously a static pose, but it's got movement in the sense that, you know, it does look like he has just snatched that pistol up to blast something in the face. I do like this head. I don't know where this head is from. I'll assume it's probably from the Black Templar sets, but I like the pointy beard on that, so let me know where that head's from. That's really cool. The clean chest. Mark 10 armour looks really good with a clean chest plate. I don't know what it is. I think it kind of, especially with these rivets, just kind of makes it look a bit more archaic and brutal and less like high-tech sci-fi, which is kind of one of my problems with Primaris Marines. The bolt carbine looks really good, and you know, you've got the sling there as well. One thing that a lot of people would fail about things like slings and tassels and purity seals is that they're all affected by the wind in the same way. So if it's blowing this way, you know, if the wind is blowing this way, everything needs to blow this way. And if you've got like a sling going this way or a purity seal or something, will break the sort of illusion, as it were. What is it with Games Workshop and plasma pistols and bionic arms? I get the joke, but like, is it every time now? Is that what we're doing? Because it just kind of seems rather redundant and silly to me. I like the use of a back banner. Back banners are cool. And the tilt shield, which is absolutely massive. I don't know where that's from. But I quite like the look of that. So yeah, traditionally that would be on the other side. That's why the cutouts there to help improve visibility. But for the balance of the model, I think it is better there. Really nice use of some etched brass there, and some extra doodads. Is this one of the? Yeah, it must be one of the Space Wolf models then, because it's got the weird WWE belt. So yeah, I really like the look of that. So nice work. Keep it up, and let us see when it is painted. So last up, I have the Scion of the Dreadwing, who has given us his chapter master / chief librarian. This is for his homebrew chapter, and I like it. I like the pose. The conversion of the helmet's pretty cool with the laurels. I like the tilt shield. It's good detailing. I like the armor. It's got those sort of those doodads and details of 40k that really elevated it beyond just being generic sci-fi warriors sort of thing. However, you have committed the cardinal sin, the unforgivable sin, and that is verdigris. I hate verdigris. I think everyone gets verdigris wrong, and like over here, I get what you're going for, and here, there's too much of it. There's far too much of it, and you've got it up here as well, and here. Verdigris is rust. It's rust on copper, or bronze. Sorry, copper and bronze actually. So the gold wouldn't have it. Gold does not oxidize. It doesn't get rusty, so it shouldn't have it. It should just, if it's oxidizing, he says in wiggling the quotation fingers, it just becomes duller, because it's losing its polished edge. That's it. It's not actually oxidizing. It's just not polished anymore. If you are going to do it here, for example, a little bit around these, and that's it. Just around them, not all over it. This is a Space Marine. His armor is a relic. It is it's more important than it is of him. A Space Marine would not allow their armor to degrade in such a manner. This does not appear quickly, and yeah, it would be something. He would be polishing and oiling his armor to keep it safe. So it is only once it is, an ancient relic that is taken out of care every couple of hundred years might develop verdigris. So I would have tidied this up a bit, keep the bolt heads or the rivet heads clear, because they're raised, they're going to get rubbed, which is going to clear off the verdigris at all. Wouldn't have made sure it's on any of the silver stuff. Again, if it's silver armor, traditionally it's going to be ferrite based, ferrous based, iron based. It's going to rust rather than getting verdigris. You can see you've got some rust right here. This on the gauntlet, much better. That's fine, and you can use it just to define edges, so that's better. The sensor especially, I don't think would have had it. It's a religious icon, and it's all over the chain as well. It just kind of looks a bit sloppy. I get what you're going for. You just tighten it up a bit and it will look a lot better. Especially, you lose the detail here on the roundel on the elbow. So just tie it back a bit, bring the highlights back up onto the skull, and it would look much better. I like the way you've, I love the base. The base is fantastic. I really do. I love these nameplates as well, and I like how you've blended the base into the feet, or the feet into the base with your weathering powders. That looks really good. It looks believable. The damage looks believable, especially on the helmet and down here. It's not overdone. So I like how you can see his face through the helmet as well. That's kind of interesting. I like the weathering on the backpack. The chipping's good. Yeah, I can see what you're going for. I really like it. and this is, you know, it's not a bad model. It's a very good model. There's just some things here. The verdigris, it's one of those things that activates my almonds and just needs toning down ever so slightly. Even if we accept that, you know, it's a 41st millennium battlefield, maybe things rust and corrode differently, you have to remember the patterns of corrosion. Go and have a look at metal things, go and look at bronze, brass and, you know, copper things, see how the corrosion moves, how it collects and stuff. It's one of the best things about going for a walk in a town or something, is going and looking at things and seeing how metal degrades. Take a photo with your phone. I do it all the time when I was out with my parents going for like breakfast or something. We'd be walking through somewhere like Winchester and they'd be like, why is he going and looking at skips? And I'm like, I'm looking at the rust. So yeah, Scion, it's a great model. You should be very proud. There's just a couple of things there I would have tidied up on. I really like this shoulder pad and the tilt shield. They're really good. So yeah, well, thank you very much for sharing that with us, and to everyone else who shared their models with us. If you guys want to get some more feedback, pop it down in the feedback channel at the bottom of Discord. Discord will not be opening at this time. I've decided it's going to stay closed, so please don't ask for invites anymore. We've had some serious trouble recently, and I'm going to have to try and deal with that in a different way. So thank you guys, have a great day. As always, my name is Bando, this is Brexit Bando, bye bye.